podcast with Amanda, Shandy, and Colleen. My name is Colleen.
My name is Amanda.
And I'm Shandy.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is season 7, episode 13, episode number 283. How's it going?
It's going.
It's good.
Excellent. Excellent. Shandy and I don't know if it ever made it up there, Amanda, but we survived Tropical Depression Ian.
Sure did.
I don't think it's like so much, he's just kind of like a sad, rainy kid at this point.
Rainy kid.
It's been sort of like rainy and sad since like Friday night.
Yeah, we actually, since Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's been like super rainy and gross here. So what you're saying is it's not Tropical Depression Ian, it's basically just emo Ian up by you.
Yeah, and it's not very tropical. It's more like
cold.
Like whatever, like the Pacific Northwest Ian would be. Like it's just that. It's just like cold and windy and rainy and just all around melancholy here.
Melancholy Ian. Nice. That's good. All of our listeners. To all of our listeners out there in Florida, South Carolina, the coast, anybody that was affected, we hope that you're okay. Please let us know if you need anything in general, though, because some of those pictures out of Florida are just devastating.
Yeah,
so
it's really scary.
Anyway, happy October again, officially.
Today's October 3rd.
I'm so excited. Yes. I love October.
Yes.
I used to hate
October
the fall.
3rd.
Oh, October 3rd. And then today he asked me what day it is. And I said, it's October 3rd.
October 3rd.
Did you know that, Liz, I think this must be nationwide, but like local movie theaters in Raleigh were playing Mean Girls today in honor of it.
Really?
Yes, they were.
That's so fun.
That's great.
I'll have to look. I don't know if that was a thing here.
I have to imagine, because it was some of the, like, Regal, like, what's the other one? Like, AMC.
AMC.
Yeah, like, they were doing it. So I have to imagine it's got to be nationwide, right?
You would think so. Or at least in, like, nationwide, like, major cities.
Yeah. I discovered it midday when Jessica made the post about the Lindsay Lohan movie. And the thing said it's October 3rd. And I typed in Lindsay Lohan movie, actually, into Google. And what came up were showtimes for Mean Girls for today. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
That really is cool. That's very clever. Good marketing. Good marketing.
Yeah, there we go.
Someone earned their bonus.
It is such a great movie, though. Oh, Lindsay. We will be watching that movie for our Christmas show. So don't worry, everyone. That's
the new Lindsay Lohan.
The Lindsay Lohan one, right? Not Mean Girls.
I mean, we can always throw in Mean Girls for fun.
I mean, there is kind of a Christmas scene in it.
There's a whole song.
I mean, if Die Hard is a Christmas movie, like arguably we could say that Mean Girls is a Christmas movie.
Yep.
Brilliant.
You could make that argument. Someone could. I don't know if I could do it, but someone could make that a very compelling argument out of that.
Absolutely brilliant. Agreed. I think we could just spend a whole month talking about Mean Girls. It's just so wonderful.
Why not?
Why not? Next October.
Next October.
October 3rd.
We could have been doing it now. But next October 3rd will be a Tuesday. So there we go.
But it's a Tuesday today.
So
how will it be also...
It really messes with your mind when we record on these Mondays.
Apparently.
Seriously, the last time we did it, it affected the rest of my week. Like for the rest of my week, I thought it was a day off.
I know it does. It throws me off too. Actually.
Yeah. Like, to be fair, I did know that it was Monday all day. It was literally just sitting here doing this, and I'm like, oh, now it's magically Tuesday.
Don't you wish it worked like that?
Yeah. In this moment, my brain just was like shut off, and was like, what happened before this moment didn't exist. What happens in the next moment doesn't exist yet. It is Tuesday, and we're recording.
Yes.
If it makes you feel any better, I did have like a moment of pause where I was like, wait, is this like a leap year or something? And then internally I was like, well, that wouldn't even make sense, because then if it was a leap year, then it would be an extra. And then I came back to like, oh, it's Monday.
Oh, you went on a whole journey.
You
I
did.
really did.
and like split seconds. Just incredible.
Yeah, mine was not that intelligent. It was just like, oh, it's Tuesday. No, it's not.
But see, your comment gave me just enough time in my mind to get to, oh, wait, it's Monday.
I said the quiet part out loud.
Somebody, sometimes you can't say the quiet part out loud. You just should never. But like in this case, somebody had to.
Yeah. In this case.
That was great.
Comedy fodder.
We decorated, and by we, I mean me. I cleaned out my garage and decorated for Halloween this weekend. Nice. What you see behind me is actually you can still see like it's on the floor still. Like my half-assed attempt to do this office, but I had this thought. I was like, I can't record a broadcast without any Halloween up, so let me just place these here.
Just get one of those like plastic pumpkins. Put the rest of those lights in the pumpkin.
Yeah, I like that.
Not a bad idea. Well, I decorated my whole upstairs. Wow. I decorated out here, down here, which I think, Shandy, you were here for the meetup last year, so you saw how I do all the lights.
Yes, I was.
So we do the lights, and then we do a couple of things differently. We usually do lights over the sliding glass door that goes outside, but this year I don't think I'm going to do that. I wanted to put half of those up here, but now they're on the floor, so it might have just been like I don't know, whatever. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. By the time it's our next week, we're doing a very quick live show for the patrons for episode 714 on Thursday. That is Thursday, October 17th, October 13th. AKA X-Files Day, which we might not even be in here because my parents are driving my kids back, so they might be in here, and I might be in Jay's office, so we'll see where I am next Thursday, October 13th, so if you're a Hangout level patron, we hope you'll join us. October 17th, that is a Monday, we'll be talking about Halloween movies. I think the two movies that we've all agreed to both watch and then choose your own adventure from there are Hocus Pocus 2 and Beetlejuice.
Nice, yeah. Yes. I did already watch Hocus Pocus 2 over the weekend, and I will not say anything more. I'll save it for the podcast, but just put that out there.
Yeah, please don't spoil me.
No, I will. 100% no more words.
Okay.
But
I'm like excited, but also really afraid that my childhood's going to be over.
But I'm
also very excited.
I have seen headlines and Facebook posts, essentially, that were less than glowing. So I hope that I can form my own opinion when I watch it. And then on Tuesday, October 25th, time to be determined, we're going to our annual costume party on Zoom. And don't forget, back in like February, I pulled out a whole bunch of ghost stories for this.
Right.
It's like 10 months in the making.
You sure did.
Super excited.
Yeah.
Super. I got like pages of it, so I need to go through and like cull it down. But all the research is there. It's just I need a good copy editor, aka me. Super excited. So yeah, we've got a very exciting October coming up. But before we move on, speaking of October, I think we need to give a very hearty congratulations to Mike and Aaron, who got married.
Yes!
On Saturday the 1st.
Congratulations!
Yay! I'm so excited and happy for you guys. I love all the pictures.
So excited for you guys. Loved your wedding from what I saw of it on the socials.
Yay!
Perfect.
So, yeah. So perfect.
I know.
For you all.
Yay! We're so excited and we wish you guys all the happiness. And Mike, you got to send me the video. I guess I should say, Aaron, if you're listening, send me the video because I want to watch it. Okay.
Just send it to the broadcasters Gmail, please, so we all can watch it.
Yeah, there we go. Or if it's like not going to go through email, send it to us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that might work better. I don't know. Yes. Okay, cool. All right. Woohoo! Does anybody else have anything before we move on? I have a turtle update, but that's about it.
Ooh, do tell.
So we accidentally have a pet turtle now upstairs. It's living next to my sink in a little aquarium. Not thrilled about the indoor reptile, but okay the fact that it's just temporary. It's going back outside as soon as it's big enough.
Oh, so how did this happen?
We were going to the stores on Saturday, like late afternoon, and Zachary saw the turtle crawling out on the porch, and he was like, "Look, a turtle, a baby turtle!" And Jay picked it up and still had like his yolk sac and everything, and we were like, "Oh shit, this is like a newborn turtle." But it was like super cold, and we know that like the mortality rate isn't great for baby turtles. And at first we thought it was one of the painted turtles that like, need the pond. And because we have the fucking asshole snapping turtle out there that has maimed 2 other baby turtles, we have
freaking Mitch out there.
We have
shit.
2 3-legged turtles that were babies that, so Jay was like, well, let's take it inside and like do some research and maybe we can help it get big enough to like survive on its own. So anyway, we looked it up, we went to Petco. We got the little tank and a little heating lamp for it, and we took so anyway, all this stuff is on my blog, collrights.com. I put pictures and everything if you're interested. COLL rights. Please spell rights yourself.com. But yeah, so like you got the little heating lamp, and we took some mulch and rocks and whatnot from outside, and like Jay got mealworms to feed it, which is kind of gross because there's mealworms in my fridge, and I don't love that either, but whatever. Yeah. We're all God's creatures. We all need to eat.
Circle of life.
Circle of life. Anyway, so yeah, it's really super cute. So go to my blog for pictures. Like it's very cute. It like burrows in. It moves like 2 or 3 times a day.
Oh, so it doesn't have to be completely in water. This turtle, it can.
No, so box turtles are more terrestrial.
Box turtle.
Yeah, it's a box turtle.
Yes, my friend actually had a box turtle as a pet growing up. Same thing. Sort of found it outside, and it was in need of. And she had it for a very long time. It was actually a very good pet. Would like let it out and walk around, and
it's so small.
It's so small.
All right, I got to check this out too.
I was expecting
no, it's like it was like newborn. Like it had its yolk sac, and like they have this little like white. Their nose has like a white pointer thing, that is how they break out of their shell, and it still had that on it too. It's kind of faded since, but like yeah.
Oh my god, it's so tiny.
It's so tiny and it's so cute.
I've never seen a box turtle that small.
Yeah,
it's very exciting.
Yeah. So anyway, that's like been a whole thing.
It's very exciting.
It sleeps a lot, which its natural instincts in this time of year are to like burrow itself in and start to hibernate and sleep so it can grow bigger.
It's a baby. Baby. That's what they do.
Yeah, that's what they do. So it's super cute. I have yet to see it eat the mealworms. Jay has actually fed it. I'm very excited that I have not seen it eat the thing because I would be like, ah. So because we don't know if it's a girl or a boy. We were trying to think of unisex names, and we went with Taylor Rudy. Nice. Because Zach and I were on Team Taylor, and Alex was like, we need to call it Rudy. And I was like, I don't want to call it Rudy. And he was very, made his, whole case for it. And so the compromise was Taylor Rudy, but we have to call it its full name. So we have to call this thing by its full name. I'm trying to make the TR happen, so that way it's never
Stop trying to make TR happen.
I know, right?
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, good times. We've got a turtle. You've got a kitty cat butt in our face.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
love that.
She's like, look at it. That's right.
How are you guys? Good?
Yeah, fine.
No turtles accidentally made their...
No turtles. Again, it rained, so we were inside all weekend.
I know.
So yeah, it's really just working and going back and forth to daycare. That's just kind of been it.
Fair enough.
Hasn't been that exciting.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so we were instructed to telework on Friday, and then it ended up just getting basically put under administrative leave anyway, so we didn't actually really have to work, so that was cool. And it was just raining, and I was bracing myself all day. I brought everything back inside. I cleaned up some of the crap that was in the garage that's just been there since we moved that we haven't really put away yet, so that I could actually just barely bring our car into the garage. Because they're like, oh, if it gets bad, like, I mean, it is kind of stupid to like have a garage and then not have it protect you from a storm if you do have a storm. But
I have 2 garage doors and we use 0 of them.
Well, I mean, since then I've continued to not bring the car into the garage, but you know, if it's like, if you're expecting like damage, seems like a nice thing to be able to actually use. So that was like a whole thing. And then we just, you know, braced ourselves and then it was totally fine.
Yeah.
Which I'm very thankful for. And then our power did go out actually last night. So it was like Saturday was fine.
Yeah.
Sunday was actually like really nice. We're having this like amazing fall weather.
You had nice weather yesterday? We still had rainy, shitty.
No, it was kind of like, I mean, it was still like a little bit overcast, but it's like I went on a run. There was some blue skies.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
It was
0
so
blue skies.
fucking nice.
It's been 4 days without blue skies in Raleigh.
Oh, man.
Yeah, basically.
Well, yeah.
What is the sun?
I know. I'm like, are we ever going to see it again? And then the
It's
lady...
gonna rain all week here. Well, actually, it doesn't matter. We leave for Ohio on Wednesday, so it can do whatever it wants after Wednesday morning. I don't care.
Yeah, we did have a power outage for a couple of hours last night. I was like, seriously, like we got through the hurricane fine, but it was, I'm guessing it's somehow connected, you know?
Yeah. Who knows?
Or just something really stupid, like someone, you know, drove into a telephone pole or something.
Also possible. It said that there was like a pole was broken or something. Broke pole. Which was like broke. You could say broken, but whatever. That's grammar. Neither here nor there. But yeah, that's about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I also spent the weekend watching. I'm very glad the power didn't go out for us because I had to watch 3 Shakespeare movies in 3 days. So that was wonderful.
Yeah, it was a lot.
We were actually kind of on the same schedule, Colleen. Because it's funny, like on Friday, well, we'll talk about it. I watched quote unquote Much Ado, and then the next day I watched also quote unquote Oh, which I'll explain when we get to it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Also, advance permission to call this episode Much Do About Romeo and Juliet.
Oh,
Okay.
do it.
Thought of that one myself. Maybe we'll think of something better. Was real pleased though, but when you said that, I was like, oh my god, my pun! I gotta tell them.
Yeah.
Do you want to just start with Much Ado About Nothing then?
Sure.
I think that I like that flow. So it came out first.
Yeah.
I watched it first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched it first as well. It was the only one that I wasn't very familiar with. I hadn't seen O or Much Ado, but I feel like I might have seen parts of O, or maybe I saw it and was like drunk at college or something. I don't know. Like it wasn't unfamiliar to me, but I didn't remember ever watching it. But Much Ado, I know I had never seen. Everyone is in this movie.
Everyone. It's a very cast of heavy hitters of the day.
Right? And like, it's so funny because Jay came up at one point and he was like, because he was doing live streams for Geek Dead Life all weekend. And at one point he comes up and he goes, is that Michael Keaton? And I was like, it sure is.
Like an utterly like unnecessary. Like he's never actually read the play. They're just like, yeah, just be as weird as you want. Just like, go nuts, man. Just go nuts.
Yes. It was like they basically gave them all paychecks and they were like, hey, you want to do a Shakespeare movie? Have fun.
Professor Umbridge was in it.
Yes. They were
in it.
everyone was in it. The lady that played Ursula was, because I was reading about the like behind the scenes trivia stuff today to prepare for this. She was she's Emma Thompson's mom.
Oh no way!
Yeah,
They look
You
very
don't
similar.
say.
They
Yeah.
look very similar.
and Emma Thompson is Professor Trelawney.
Oh, that's true.
And there was another
That's
Harry Potter
wild.
person in it. Is Kenneth Branagh in Harry
Kenneth
Potter?
Branagh. He was Lockwood.
That's right. He's Lockwood.
Oh, that's right.
But like I, feel
I was like
you're-
trying
if
to
you're-
place.
And
Yeah, like
in
you're a
the-
working British actor. Like you're in a Harry.
You're in a Harry Potter. Yeah. They kept it like real homegrown
If
Harry
you're a
Potter.
British actor who has been in like 5 like major motion Hollywood motion pictures, you've been in a Harry Potter movie. They have found a role for you.
Yes. Well, and also the original, or I guess an earlier version of Much Ado About Nothing, Dame Maggie Smith and her husband played the two title roles that, of course, now are escaping me. But yeah.
Beatrice and Benedict.
Yes, there we go. Benedict and Beatrice. So, and Maggie Smith, of course, is everything. Just everything. She is the British Betty White.
Wasn't expecting to see Keanu Reeves.
No, I wasn't either. So
Gosh.
he was nominated for a Razzie for his performance in that movie.
Shakespeare's not a good look on him.
No, acting roles in general.
There's too many words.
I love Keanu Reeves.
He's like,
Totally.
But-
But he's great in The Matrix because he doesn't have to say anything.
it's very like he's supposed to be kind of robotic.
Yeah.
It's like what he has a line in the beginning of the movie. He's like, "I'm a man of few words," and Daniel is like, "Well, that's probably for the best."
Same. I was right there with you. So when I say that I watched this one, quote unquote, I have to admit, I started it. I had kind of a hard time with it. I also I never read the play in high school, so I'm not really familiar. I made it a little ways into it, and then I fell asleep pretty hardcore. And I could not bring myself to go back to it. So I apologize to everyone who loves it.
That's okay.
I was just very bored, very much feeling like I need to be studying this with somebody who can translate it for me.
I found that watching it with subtitles was helpful.
Peaky Blinders. That's Peaky Blinders for me. I have fallen asleep during it several times.
Yeah.
Haven't started it. Yeah.
Can't watch it. Keep falling asleep. I feel you.
So I feel that way about Shakespeare in general. I think I've talked about this all the time. I do not really enjoy Shakespeare when we had to read the plays because I was an English theater minor. So we had the big old book and we had to read them. And even then, I just not a super fan of it, especially because, all of these themes are so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
This whole movie was about the fucking plot point was her virginity. But
Yeah.
That being said, I had more fun as it went on than I expected to. And by the end, I was like, okay, this is not that bad. And, the guy from House was Claudio in it. And Kate Beckinsale didn't even look like Kate Beckinsale because she was it was her first ever theater or movie role.
Baby Kate Beckinsale.
Baby Kate Beckinsale, even though I just literally watched that Nicolas Cage movie with her daughter playing Nicolas Cage's daughter. She's in her 20s now because we're fucking old.
I will say the screenshot or the picture that you shared, Colleen, on our broadcast Instagram with all the men coming in on horseback. I almost shared that one too.
I shared a different version of it the week before. I mean, what else do you do?
That's
ridiculous.
that was epic. That was hilarious.
Denzel Washington,
then the bath scene when they're getting ready for and it's just a giant orgy.
Mm-hmm.
Shakespeare is very extra, right?
Yeah.
But that was
but this one in particular,
extra.
I feel like this play is very extra.
It kind of was. I wrote, now I kind of don't remember because there may have been vodka, but the very last note on this is, Keanu is an incel, but I'd still hit it.
He's not talking. The words are not for you, my friend.
What is that show that he was in recently-ish where he plays himself?
Oh, he was in the movie.
Was it a movie?
Always Be My Maybe.
Right.
Oh, right. It was
Right.
it was a movie. Yeah, that was kind of a hilarious role. I really enjoyed that.
Agreed. I had forgotten all about that too, but
Love him in that. Anyway, other than everyone is in this movie, and I also wrote in all caps, again, there might have been some martinis involved. get thee a wife in all caps, which I think was a comment on the virginity stuff and like, why didn't he recognize her through the see-through veil? I mean, the veil was see-through. Like, if she's walking down the aisle, like, you don't recognize, like, the love of your life, like, crazy. I saw her.
Yeah. Well, and you also figure, like, Shakespearean plays happen in, like, the course of, like, 3 days. So,
yes, which
like,
is
boy meets
always...
girl, boy denies, falls in love immediately, then hates her guts, then agrees to marry her cousin, and surprise, it's her. Happily ever after, the end.
Yes, and that I mean, what a commentary on the times, but also why I generally don't really enjoy Shakespeare, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I have to begrudgingly say, I thought that it was going to be a chore to watch this movie, but by the end, I was like, all right, this is kind of fun. I guess it also could have been the vodka, but
Probably an unpopular opinion, but I enjoyed this one the most. Because it doesn't...
Because, not everybody dies at the end?
Right, because it's not, like, gratuitously violent.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't lean into the violent. It's just light and fluffy and just, like, a big budget, like, sweeping Hollywood version of Shakespeare. It's very sort of down the nose, like...
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Making a Shakespeare movie and like, here we go. We're just going to spend a lot of money and shoot somewhere beautiful and get all these actors. And
they shot it in Italy.
It doesn't ask. Yeah. And it just like it didn't ask a lot of me.
I agree. And I felt that with the end too, because again, I thought it was going to be like, oh my God, they're doing the dialect. I can't handle this. But like, I did enjoy it. Can I ask you a question though? The scene where they trick him into thinking Kate Beckinsale is boning the other dude, that's one of the henchmen boning the maid or whatever?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why they spend all that time sort of setting up that they already have like a romantic tryst happening.
Yes. Okay. Just making sure, because I feel like I had missed something there. And I was like, wait, who's fucking who? I want to pay attention. Yeah, I want to pay attention to this part. Should I go back?
Yeah. I see what you mean with like, it doesn't ask a lot of us, but I will counter with, it asks me to understand 16th century English, and I don't. And like, I know that there's like mad wordplay in Shakespeare, but I cannot appreciate it because I haven't like studied this text and like, again, like translated it into like contemporary speech.
You need the subtitles. It really helps.
No, I was watching with subtitles.
I
was watching with subtitles.
Okay,
like,
well, I had to.
It's just, I know that like 90% of it is going over my head. And so at some point it's like, meh.
See, when I'm reading along, it helps a lot. But like so the remote died and I had to charge it for the first like 30 minutes of the movie. And I couldn't figure out how to turn the subtitles on using the remote, like the iPhone thing, which apparently was super easy, but like I just couldn't figure it out. And it was pre-vodka, so just me being dumb. But once I was able to be like, turn subtitles on, then all of a sudden it really helped a lot. So I all in all, I appreciated the movie for what it was, and I did like it. I begrudgingly liked it a lot more than I thought, and I'm glad that I watched it.
Yeah, agreed. I think I realized I also just really like Kenneth Branagh's directing style. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like not that I have seen a ton of his films, but the ones I have seen are always like a little more whimsy than I think they're going to be. They're always just a little cheekier. Like, he just has this really kind of just fun approach to making movies, which is really enjoyable as a viewer.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that movie was just everybody having fun. Like, just go out there, like Michael Keaton, go out there and do your thing. And Denzel was like,
go out and bathe together and have a big orgy and just have a lot of fun.
Exactly. Thompson, you don't want to wear shoes at all during this movie? That's fine.
You really like shoes. It's supposedly a modest society, but you don't want to button up that last little button ever.
No. They're in Tuscany. They don't have to.
Yeah.
Different rules.
It was just funny, like how, Keanu was just like, I'm going to try to say words. Michael Keaton was like, I'm going to just get my paycheck and be as fucking nuts as I can. And Denzel was like, I'm going to take this seriously. So, like...
Denzel's like, I just won an Oscar, so, like, I still have to, like, show up for this.
I have to show up for the Shakespeare, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he probably, like, had his Oscar, like, in his trailer, just to, like...
It was on the makeup table next to him every morning. No, but it was super fun. It was fun. It was a lot more fun than I anticipated. Any last thoughts before we move on to O? Oh, are we going to do O next, or we're going to do Romeo and Juliet?
I'd be fine with saving the best for last.
Okay.
So, O. Again.
Othello.
I apologize. I've actually never read Othello either. I'm, like, vaguely familiar with it. First of all, I fucking hate the plot. I hate jealousy. So just going into it, I was like, this is going to be rough. I got about halfway through to the rape scene, and then I was like, I'm out. I'm sorry. I'm out.
You know, it's funny.
I wish I knew that we that was within the rules, because I hated this so much.
Well, it's not you.
I didn't want to watch this one anyway. I hate this.
There was also a lot of people in this, but the rape scene is actually the scene that I watched that I was like, I feel like I had seen this movie before. That was one of those, like, triggering things to me. I'm like, have I seen this?
Yeah.
But, like, if that's not my whole problem with every Shakespeare fucking tragedy, is they're all, like, the worst of humankind doing the worst things to each other, and I don't understand no matter what century you're in, why that was so fucking, like, exciting to people to watch. Like, I'm sorry. Whoever was ghostwriting Shakespeare's shit for him, like, that person was on Downers that wrote all of the...
Different times. I will say, 2 of the 10 Things cast members were there, and then you just, like, throw in Josh Hartnett.
And Martin Sheen! It was during the West Wing that he agreed to do this movie.
Because he's like, you know what? I just don't get to be angry enough on the West Wing. Like, I just need a place to put all this pent up anger that I have. I just need to be angry on screen all the time.
Fun fact about this movie, and not fun fact, is they actually filmed it in March 1999. It was supposed to be released in October 1999, but because Columbine happened April 1999, they pushed back the release, and it didn't end up coming out until 2001.
I had read that too, because, like, after I finished watching it, and I hated it so much, and I remember being like, oh man, like this was like right around Columbine, and like this, you know, like school shootings weren't a thing yet. And I went back to look at the timeline, and the shelf, like, Miramax's solution was to, like, shelve this movie for 2 years. Where it's like, well, it's still just a problematic movie that probably should have just never gotten made to begin with. Like, and the shooting is, like, just one piece of what made it so problematic.
But it already was made, because it was like the play. Like, this is the play too. He kills him in the play, and the screenwriter Brad Kaya, he said his inspiration came from Othello, the spate of suburban school shootings that rocked the country in the 1980s, and his own experiences as a black teenager attending a largely white private school.
Interesting.
I always and good for you for doing the research. Like, just the way the movie plays out, like, I just assumed it was like a white male who directed it.
Well, I think it was directed by a white male, but
it was written. So you said,
but it was written by a black man.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I would have it just felt so, like, white, whitewashed, just like the way all the white characters, like, you know, again, that sort of, like, tokenism of, you know, the movies that we've seen of that era, where it's just like all the white wealthy characters are sort of speaking quote unquote street and like trying to sound more black than they are. And it just felt like it just all felt so very, very icky.
Yeah.
So that's very surprising.
So
I will say it's kind of depressing knowing that they shelved this movie for 2 years because of Columbine, because today, it would just be like not even on anyone's radar.
Exactly.
Like, oh, there was a mass shooting yesterday. Cool. There'll be one next week also. Like,
exactly.
We'll push it a week.
Yeah.
Right?
Or not even. I don't think it would even be a consideration.
Obi-Wan and what was the other one that started with a shooting scene? Those two Disney Plus shows with, like, a word, please. Which one?
Stranger Things.
Thank you. Stranger Things and Obi-Wan would like a word because they were totally unfazed by Uvalde.
Yeah.
Like,
no, they put that one little graphic
They did put
up
that
in
graphic.
front.
You're right.
Didn't put any audio in front of it. So, for all of our
Yeah.
friends that are, vision impaired.
Right.
Wow.
They had no idea, but yeah. Okay, so the dad from Home Alone was in this movie.
Yeah.
The dude from the Mighty
Him
Ducks.
in Home Alone.
Yeah, very angry. Why is everyone so
Very
angry in
angry.
this movie?
I
So
know.
angry.
Okay, question also. Josh Hartnett, and maybe this is because, again, I was not watching closely because I was kind of like already just not here for the movie.
So I was folding a lot of laundry, so I did actually watch this one.
So, Josh Hartnett, when he goes to get drugs stuck into his stomach, what the fuck is he being injected with? Am I supposed to know this? Was
I
it
just
like,
thought it was like steroids.
is that where you...
Yeah, because I thought it was steroids or some kind of performance-enhancing drug because he was trying to be better than Odin in order
so
to
gross.
like
But to
impress
your-
his dad.
Right. But to your question, is the abdomen where one...
I don't know,
steroids.
but to be fair, the abdomen is not where people generally shoot themselves to commit suicide, but because this was the 90s...
Daniel actually had a good point about that because I said a similar thing. I was like, no one shoots themselves in the chest.
Yes, in the chest.
And Daniel was like, well, what if it's a nod to like in Shakespeare's time when someone kills
like
himself on
swords
stage, they
or
would
bayonets,
stab themselves in the chest.
Oh.
So like, what if it's
Smart.
like supposed to be a nod to that? And I was like, okay, I still think it's like not how you do it, but whatever. Like, okay.
Okay, I like that point
Valid
because my whole thing was, I guess just back in the late 90s, they just didn't show, suicide in the head or whatever. Like, that was what they did for their MPAA ratings. So that was my thought. Like, oh, okay. But yeah, a lot of toxic masculinity in this movie. I wrote the note, MAGAism gone wild towards the end, which I don't know why, but I stand by
I was
it.
gonna say, how so?
I don't remember. I'll think. I think there was just a lot of like hero worship and like blind. I don't know. Shoot. If anybody knows what I meant, I'll think about it. Maybe I'll just call it out whenever we get to it. But anyway, yeah. I didn't hate the movie because I knew what the plot was. So I kind of largely knew what was going to happen. And I do think I might have seen it before. But, again, Shakespeare tragedy is not really my cup of tea. But it was well acted, I guess. There was no Keanu's in it.
No, there's Mekhi Phifer.
Right. There's like Mekhi Phifer. To be fair, is a phenomenal actor. I would watch him in just about anything, but just not this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even I think...
I don't like the character he had to play.
Right. And it's like, I do know the source material, but I think just adapting it and making it about a high school basketball team, already cheapens any point that was trying to be made.
I don't know.
Because then it's really all these people die because Josh Hartnett was jealous of
his dad liking Odin.
of someone else being a black kid being a better basketball player than him.
But that's Shakespeare.
Really what it
that's
comes
why it
down
sucks.
to.
Yeah. That's why it's along been my point. People suck.
I don't know. It just felt like a movie that really just didn't need to get made. And it felt like it was trying to be provocative and was trying to be more than it was. And I just really didn't like it.
I did find it hilarious though that Julia Stiles is she had a type in the 90s. She had a type of movie. I much preferred her in 10 Things I Hate About You.
But 10 Things is
That's
also
something I can get behind.
Yeah. 10 Things is also this actually seemed to me like the soap opera version of 10 Things in that they tried to change character names and make it translate it to a high school movie. Only we don't like this because especially now in our 2022 views, we recognize that this isn't this is I think it's more real. I don't know, given current events maybe. And underneath my MAGAism Gone Wild comment, I also quoted when Hugo says, "I did what I did, and that's all you need to know," which I also felt was somewhat kind of like a very, not chilling, what's the word? Like a line that kind of sums up bad people. And but anyway, I liked and I hated that line. I thought it was profound, considering.
Okay. I'll give you that. I still hated it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, like I said, the Shakespeare stuff is always tough for me. Do we want to move on to one that
Yes.
Okay, Romeo and Juliet?
I don't know if you ladies agree with me, but I fucking love this movie. I just love it so much. I think, so part of it, like, I feel like I actually comprehend so much more of even, like, the actual language because, you know, like most teenagers, like, we did study this one a lot more intensely in high school. So that helps. But I also think that they just do a really good job of, like, making it understandable. I love that they keep the dialogue, but I love the aesthetic, and this is where maybe Amanda might not agree, but I'm just so fucking here for it. And I mean, the cast is wonderful, and the music, like this soundtrack is so fucking good. I'm all for it.
I agree with you on the soundtrack. It is
So
a
good.
very, like, the soundtrack was the
So
thing
good.
that, like, held up for me.
Oh, it's so good.
Music's still good. Music's still very well placed.
Mhm.
Like, soundtrack really worked for me. I think this was one of those that, like, it is such a product of its time, and I don't think I was quite as aware, like, how much it's a product of, like, that sort of mid 90s, like, glorifying violence and, like, just everything, just fast cuts, slow cuts, frame rate changes, bright colors, like, crazy music, just so much symbolism. Like, it was just so
See, I think Baz Luhrmann still
I'm here
does the
for
exact
it.
same thing now, though.
He really does. Well, it's, like,
I think
that's
it's
the
him.
thing. It's like Baz Luhrmann, like, that is just, like, his aesthetic. Like, I feel like he is, like, a teenage girl's, like, emotional, like, angst in movie form. Like, everything is just so heightened and, like,
Yeah.
unnecessarily intense.
See, I always
For,
thought
like,
of him as,
whatever
like,
reason, it's unclear.
I always thought of him
But
as like
Romeo and
a,
Juliet, like,
Right.
I
But
mean,
it's-
it's a ridiculous story about
Right.
teenagers falling in love at first sight, getting married the next day, and then both killing themselves. Like,
Yeah,
on day
it's
3.
really, to go back to
Yeah.
Colleen's point, it's a pretty fucking insane.
I fucking hate Romeo and Juliet. I
but
hate
to finish
it.
my-
I
to
hate
finish
it.
my thought.
Yeah.
Like, it to that point, like, it does work in some places. Like, in some ways, it is very successful.
Yeah.
And, like, it does, like, hit on, like, it does punctuate things correctly. And I think a lot of the, like, acting choices and, like, delivery choices were really, really effective. But, like, as a whole, it just, like, left me really exhausted.
No, I understand that. So, before we move on, Baz Luhrmann, I've always thought of him as a human glitter bomb.
Yeah. Yes.
This is the first time I've seen this movie several times before. It's one of Jay's favorite movies. This is the first time watching it last night that I actually liked it.
Wow.
I have hated it until last night. When
Wow.
we decided to
It
do
was
it, I
love
was
at
like,
first sight
ugh,
for me.
maybe I'll skip it and just, like, whatever.
So what changed for you, do you think?
I think I just went in knowing how ridiculous it was and just sitting there and just watching it. Also, O was so depressing. Much Ado was somewhat fun. So, like, I think I was just like, you know what, this is the last one. Let me just give it a try. I have come to terms with myself, enjoying over-the-top ridiculous shit over the last few years. And also, guys, like, Leonardo DiCaprio was really fucking cute back in the day.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
the hair.
I was also, for the first time ever, like, taken in. I was like,
For the
yeah.
first time ever? What?
Yeah, I think this
Sorry,
is the
what?
first time that I've ever been like, man, that man was a snack back in the day.
Yeah.
Look at those
Funny to call him a
eyes.
man because he, like, just looks so young in this movie, like, in a way that, like, teenage me, like,
Hey, fun
look like a
fact.
man then.
It was
But-
age appropriate for us at the time. Well,
It was. It
we
was
were
age
actually
appropriate.
younger than age appropriate.
Oh,
But, you
gosh.
know, it was, yeah.
That's
What
true.
does
We were
that
actually
make
us?
probably
Have a
too young
crush
to
on
see this
him.
movie when it came out. I'm certain my parents would not have let me go see that in the theater. I'm sure I saw it years later.
Hey, fun fact about age appropriate. So Leo was 21 when they filmed this, and they originally cast Natalie Portman as Juliet, but she was 14. And
Wow.
during
That
rehearsals,
sounds familiar.
during rehearsals, someone decided that she looked too young for the part, and the footage looked as though DiCaprio was, quote, molesting her, unquote.
Yeah.
So Lerman stated that she was just too young. Sarah Michelle Gellar was offered the role next, but she had to turn it down because of scheduling conflicts. And the reason that Claire Danes was cast was because DiCaprio actually insisted that she be offered the role because he felt that she was genuine in her line delivery. This is all from Wikipedia, by the way, and did not try to impress him by like flirting with him for the role. So,
I mean, this
Claire
is coming
Danes,
off the heels
professional,
of My
even at
So-Called
20.
Life.
Right. This would have been.
Yeah.
oh, that's right.
She was still...
And after Little Women, right?
Yeah, Little Women's
It was
94.
96, 94, 95.
90,
Yeah, this movie
94
was
for Little
96,
Women,
right?
95 for My So-Called Life, 96 for this. Like, wow, she had a busy couple of years. But yeah, I thought she was also... I love both of them. I think she's still a minor. Like, she was still a minor.
She is, and you know what
But
the thing that actually impressed me the most about Romeo and Juliet versus the Much Ado is, honestly, I think that when modern actors in movies try to do Shakespeare, sometimes it just sounds like they're just saying the lines, but they recognize how ridiculous they sound because they're made for the stage. And like, so Harold Perrineau, like, obviously embraces it as Mercutio. And John Leguizamo obviously also embraces it as what's his name?
Tybalt.
Thank you, Tybalt. But like Leo and Claire Danes like really do a great job for their age at like
Yeah.
really selling it.
Yeah, totally.
And like
It's one of the things that I
different-
love about this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I can understand it. I think they do a really good job. Going back to their age, like, I mean, I think in the play, aren't they like 14, 15?
Yeah.
So like they're supposed to be very young. And so that's totally fine with me to like age them up for the thing. It's a little bit disappointing that it's still like, okay, we're gonna, like, in the play they're basically the same age, and then in the movie we're still gonna have the male actor be like pretty significantly older. But I'm glad
They
that
were the same age as they were similar in age when they filmed it because she was 5 years
I think she was
earlier.
like 17.
17.
Matt was
Okay.
I watched with Matt, actually. We had a viewing party
yeah.
too.
Yeah, I saw that. So great.
Yeah. And he was messaging some of the, he always has the inside intel. And I think he said that she was 17. So like technically she's still a minor. And it's like, it's fine. It's fine. And I do think that in the movie, they look very like similar enough in age that like it works. But it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want anyone else to be playing those parts, honestly. It's perfect with them. But
Yeah. Oh, Paul Rudd is in this movie.
yes.
Well, also, I love in like the opening, isn't what it was like Dave Paris.
Yeah.
So like they're as much as I'm sort of like Baz Luhrmann, like go take a walk, like there are moments where I'm like, well played.
Yeah. And Ross and Monica's mom was Leo's mom,
Yes.
Christina Pickles.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite names for any actor ever.
That was a good name.
Yeah,
Like Paul Rudd in it, like his very most Paul Ruddy. Like
Paul Rudd was so Paul Ruddy. How many movies are we going to watch for this assignment that we unintentionally watch a Paul Rudd movie?
yeah. But I feel like
Sometimes intentionally. Like
Paul Rudd like showed up in the same way that like Michael Keaton showed up in Much Ado. So they were just like, you know what? You just read your lines and you just do them how you think they should be done. You don't read the rest of the play. You don't really need to know. Just like, how do you think? You just decide what you want this character to be and you just go.
Yeah, we cool.
We cool. Whatever you want to do is fine.
Let's see. Benvolio. I was yesterday years old when I learned that he was not Michael Rappaport.
Oh yeah. No, he was that other guy that was like in a couple of 90s movies. Like he was just like I feel like he just lives in the 90s and like he's just in a time capsule somewhere.
Yeah.
Like did that guy leave the 90s? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I haven't seen him in anything since.
I always thought he was a young Michael Rappaport. And then I was like, oh, where's his stupid, ridiculous, over-the-top accent? And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, because it's not Michael Rappaport.
Yeah. And Jamie Kennedy is in there with a black eye. Like, was that a choice or did he just show up to set and they're like, all right, well, and he's going to have a black eye in this movie?
You know, it really, with Jamie Kennedy back then, it really could go either way.
Right? That's why I'm kind of like, I like built this whole backstory. I'm like, oh, he totally like just showed up to set the first day of shooting with a black eye. And they're like, okay, it's part of the story
Just
now.
roll with it. But he was also peak Jamie Kennedy.
Peak Jamie Kennedy. And the guy from White Hot American Summer. He was like one of the was the other
Not Paul Rudd, who is also in White Hot American.
Yeah, exactly. Not Paul Rudd. The other of like Benvolio and the other one.
Yeah, the other one.
Whose name I can never remember and you don't have to.
Yes. Oh my God, I didn't even realize that. With the violence too. I said violence really was depicted differently back then. I think it was like just so less, I don't know, less graphic in a way, but still graphic, but less realistic. What's the right way to describe it?
Glorification of violence without actually showing any violence.
Right.
Like it was the gore of Tarantino without the actual like bite of Tarantino.
Right.
Like,
and I believe that note is because when Mercutio is stabbed, it's like, here's my little scratch that I'm going to die from. And I was like, oh man, like they really like suspension of disbelief. Because I would have been like, why can't you just go get like a big butterfly bandage from the nurse?
right. But yet then they're like wielding around revolvers the whole time. It's like the act of violence without the like visual violence.
Which always brings me back to that theory that goes around with pre 9/11 and post 9/11 action movies, where pre 9/11 you were always trying to prevent the bad guys from succeeding, but post 9/11 there is already like the bad guys succeed in the beginning and you're trying to like, because there's always the damage, the cities are destroyed post 9/11 and you're trying, the good guys are trying to like stop it, where there's just very different depictions of like, you know, big disaster scenes and violence post 9/11 versus pre.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's been a lot of different, there's been, I don't know a lot, but like I've read a couple of different articles touting that theory about how it just kind of depicting violence changed a lot in our post 9/11 like society.
Interesting. Like action is just like sort of not my jam. So.
Yeah, I love action. Love it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Can't wait for Action Month.
Okay.
If we ever do it. It might be better than Shakespeare Month.
Fair.
Yeah.
Apparently. I thought I was going to like this whole assignment much more than I did.
I thought I was going to hate it more than I did.
Same. I'm more with Shandy. Like I thought I knew I wasn't going to like, like I was like not excited about that one, but I thought like Romeo and Juliet, I was like, oh, it's going to be great to watch this movie again. And I'm like, and I think that's why I was so bummed that I walked away being like, oh, you know, because it's like, you can't go back kind of thing. Or it's just like,
man.
Yeah. See, now I was just doing it for you guys. Like, I went into it. I was like, just do it for them. They want to do it. Like,
why did we even decide on this?
Yeah, I can't remember. No one seemed that. None of us were into it. Guys, we need to be more honest with each other.
Yes. So.
Okay, so here's the thing. I love the 1996 version of Romeo and Juliet. I also really enjoy 10 Things, which we already watched. So I think my mindset going into that was like, everything's going to be like that. It's going to be like fun, modern takes on, you know.
Well, you know, no more tragedies. I do have a couple more notes, though, on this, because this was the one that I took the most notes on, because I was the most free, a.k.a. vodka-less and not doing laundry. So, like, attention span was there.
Cool.
So the scene where Leo is trying to talk to Tybalt, like, to be like, I want peace or whatever, my note is, Tybalt is giving peak MAGA energy while Leo is a dem in a diner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, tell me why you feel how you feel. Where it's like, everybody fucking knows why you feel how you feel. Leo is our generation's Jack Nicholson.
Oh.
Like, hot back in the day. Currently going...
Wait, Jack Nicholson was hot back in the day?
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson was not ugly back in the day. He always had the forehead, but he didn't look, he was always handsomer.
Well, and he had this, like, the charisma and the charm.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just like Leo.
That Leo brings to it. Okay,
yeah.
because originally you said that, I was like, but now that we're actually talking about this, okay,
Yeah.
I see where you're going.
Yeah, because Leo has gone through his, like, front row center Knicks phase, and now he's dating his younger model phase.
Yeah.
And questionably out of shape phase. So, like, but still making movies once a year to stay relevant phase. Got his Oscar.
So when do we get to his As Good as It Gets phase?
I don't know.
Because man, that was a good movie. I'd like to see Leo in that kind of role.
He might get there. He still has a couple years though. I mean, he's only like 45. We're 38, so he's only 48.
I was trying to do that math in my head, and then I realized I can't do math in my head.
I can't do
math.
I was
like,
either.
Sure, yeah.
I'm asking the Google machine. He's 47 years old.
Okay, so he is. I thought he was around a decade older than us.
He's 6 feet tall.
The imagery of the cross chain without the cross. Oh, that's right. The cross after Romeo dies when Juliet's crying and like the cross chain is there without the cross. I've always hated that it glorifies suicide, and it's a great movie, but I still hate the story because I fucking hate Romeo and Juliet.
Does it glorify suicide though? I would beg to differ.
I think the movie does a better job at not glorifying suicide, but like the movie shows the after context where the play in general is like, oh, star-crossed lovers, oh, they're in love, how beautiful,
no, but there's
how
still
wonderful,
there's still that monologue.
Right?
Outro.
Are you applying your modern day
maybe, but
to the text?
I still think Romeo and Juliet, the play and the plot is stupid, but it has some.
It is.
I'm not into it either, but I think it's I don't know. Like, I don't think it's whatever.
It is stupid, but I think that at the end of the day, one of the things that you come away with is that, like, well, first of all, like, don't get married to somebody you just met, but that's neither here nor there. But like, they're both really stupid for going out the way they went. Like, that's I don't mean to like shame suicide, but I don't think it's glorifying suicide. I think it's saying like that's what they did, and it was real dumb, and like it didn't have to be that way,
But it is real dumb, and like they
made really bad decisions. They were also like 14,
right?
And also like don't fucking feud. Feuding families are stupid. Oh
yeah. Also, it's
yeah. Also, I think in this rewatch, I feel like there was a little Jets and Sharks happening with how we've made our Capulets save for Juliet and parents very sort of Latinx. And our Montagues are all white dudes, except for, Mercutio. Is that the one?
Yes.
There's too many characters in Romeo and Juliet. It's really hard to keep them all straight.
There really are.
I suppose, like, that's every Shakespeare play ever. There's too many characters to keep straight.
But, like, this movie, like, you said it was extra, and it is super extra. Like, everything about it is extra, but you know what? I think I decided at the end of the day that I'm okay with it being extra because without all the extra, it's just depressing.
Yeah. And I will say that, like, what I do think, and to go back to, like, our talk about how it's, like, violent without being, like, visually violent, I do think it was an interesting choice. I feel like often when you see a modern day interpretation of Romeo and Juliet, everyone always leans into, like, the beauty and the romance of it and that language, and this really went in the opposite direction. It really like leaned harder into the violent part of it and sort of really built up this whole like the feuding families part, which I feel like we don't necessarily see in other like modern retellings of Romeo and Juliet, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I think that was kind of like an interesting choice. Like it was still way too extra for me, but like I applaud the attempt to try and do something different with, coals that have been raked over perhaps a few too many times.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I truly, last night was that I watched this was the first time that I ever was like, all right, this isn't that bad.
Yeah, I still want to know how they shot the scene where they're like in between the fish tank.
Oh,
I still have no idea
know.
how they get that shot. Like, I have no idea how they do it, and it's like that is really beautiful. Like,
and the song.
Yeah, kudos. That scene like does absolve the film of a lot of its sins.
Yeah, I want to go to that masked ball.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
yeah,
it's all just so much fun.
All right. Any last thoughts before we move on to feedback?
We're never doing Shakespeare movies again.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm okay with that.
We'll ever do a Shakespeare movie again if we find something like maybe like if Julie Taymor does which she has done many a Shakespeare telling it, a female focused one, I think maybe.
We'll see.
But otherwise, let's be done so.
Okay, super fine with that. At least we're doing Halloween movies next, and we have an idea about November. I need to confirm a few things, and we will announce it next week. Which again we'll be recording on 10/13. If you're a Hangout level patron, we hope that you will join us. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we only have a little bit of feedback for the Shakespeare related stuff, so we'll do that, and then we'll call it a night. All right, we're back, and we are going to get into some feedback. This feedback that we are reading tonight is strictly related to the Shakespeare movies topic. We got some really great other feedback. We're going to save that for next week. So thank you for sending that in. Stay tuned. Very excited to get to that as well. The first bit of feedback is from Chris, and he says, Much Ado was fire, or the cast of Much Ado About was fire. I think we agree. They were all clearly had fun.
Yeah.
Shannon says, loved all these movies, was a big Shakespeare fan in middle and high school, and legit hated Claire Danes for years because my crush on Leonardo DiCaprio. It was very dreamy. I'm sorry I came on board so late. Also loved 10 Things I Hate About You because it's a great movie. Yeah. We know. It's a great movie. I will rewatch 10 Things anytime.
Yeah.
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 Let's see. We have a voicemail from Maggie. So let's do that. And then I think we have an email from Matt about the Shakespeare stuff too. So let's kick off with a voicemail from Maggie.
Hey, Amanda, Sandy, and Colleen. It's Maggie. I am calling in with some feedback on the movies. I have not gotten a chance to rewatch them, but they are all movies that I've seen. I 100% remember seeing O in the theaters. I saw it with a family friend, and I thought it was really good, but I saw it when it came out, so I have no idea if it holds up. So I'm interested to see if it does. I feel like the basketball part was a really cool way to do it, the Shakespeare. Again, haven't seen it in a while. So I also love Romeo and Juliet. I mean, the soundtrack of that is so good. There's a lot of great songs in there. And, you know, it was Leo DiCaprio in the 90s and Claire Danes. Like, what more do you want? Like I said, I'm really hoping these hold up. I really, really am. Because I'll be really sad if they don't. And literally Much Ado About Nothing is one of my favorite movies. This version is. I just think it's kind of amazing. There's almost everyone in it has had a career since then or done other stuff. Like there's just almost everybody, I feel like, that are names that we would know. Yeah, I mean, Denzel Washington and Emma Thompson and Kate Beckinsale and Keanu Reeves, and that's just all off the top of my head. And Michael Keaton, and Imelda Staunton, and there's a few others. I just can't, like I said, haven't seen it in a while. But yeah, I really love that one. It's always been one of my favorites. I love Emma Thompson and really love her as Beatrice, and I like Kenneth Branagh, and I kind of know, I know they were married and there was some drama. I can't remember exactly what it was with them, but kind of just makes me sad they're not married anymore. But I love this movie, and I just think they're awesome together. So yeah, can't wait to hear what you think. I will hopefully be watching these movies soon if my schedule allows, and we'll call back with my thoughts after seeing them. So I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye. So I am
Maggie.
Thank you.
No.
That was an interesting bit of trivia, though. I didn't know Emma Thompson and Kenneth Branagh were married, were an item at one point.
Oh, I thought you, when I I thought you realized that because I mentioned how
Nope.
Maggie Smith and her husband played those two characters.
I just thought you were just sharing some interesting information.
No, so I'm actually looking down because I'm trying to Google Emma Thompson, Kenneth Branagh drama after she mentioned that. And I was like, oh, gossip. Let me go to there. So Maggie probably doesn't like the first hour of this episode.
Sorry, Maggie. I feel like lately, like the themes of our episodes have been like, let's make Maggie sad.
Oh.
And we don't want to do that. I'm sorry.
But Maggie, I'm here for you on Romeo and Juliet.
We agree on the soundtrack.
It's a great soundtrack.
And I feel like the other two broads are there with you on Much Ado.
So according to gossip, the reason that the two of them got divorced was he had an affair with Helena Bonham Carter while they were co-starring in the 1994 movie Frankenstein.
Huh.
Well, shit.
It's a bummer. That's a real sad news to hear.
And then later, Thompson gave the quote, "It's all blood under the bridge. You can't hold on to anything like that. It's pointless. I haven't got the energy for it. Helena and I made our peace years and years ago." So it sounds like they eventually were all adults about it, I guess. Not adults about it, but, made peace with it.
Yeah, except usually you would say it's all water under the bridge. I feel like the choice of blood under the bridge.
Well, I mean, when you're talking about Helena Bonham Carter, is there really another expression to use?
Okay, fair enough.
I love Emma Thompson. She can do no wrong in my eyes.
Yes. I don't know if you guys saw, and this is tangentially related, but what the fuck is his name? Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman, he kept a diary for the last, 20 years of his life, and it was for the purpose of being published one day, and it's coming out, but The Guardian had a bunch of excerpts from it, and I read through a bunch of it, and it was really cool, but also, just, little 1 or 2 sentences each day that he would write about movie sets and dinners with famous people, and I don't know, it was really neat. It's really cool. I'm excited for it to come out and to hear. It might even be out by now, but and to hear more excerpts from it. But at one point he wanted out of Harry Potter. He talks about J.K. Rowling before she was, crazy. This was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And talks about I really need to talk to Joanne to find out more about Snape, and the moment that she was finally okay, fine, I'm going to give you this information, and just there's just a lot of really cool stuff written within them. So if you, it's all in The Guardian. So if you want to look up that article and read through the excerpts, it is really neat. He talks about going to a dinner party with Liam Neeson and Natasha Richardson, who have obviously also rest in peace. Just other famous people, movie sets, and how he's so impressed by Dan Radcliffe's parents being so supportive of a good support structure, and at one point, he's I don't think he has a future in acting, but he's so bright and well organized that I think he's going to make a great director someday.
Oh.
And I'm oh, Alan. 20 years from now, he's going to play Weird Al, and we're all going to geek out over the trailer.
Eat it up with a spoon.
Oh, man, can you imagine how weird it would have been if he really had left Harry Potter. Like, I mean, I know like Dumbledore died and they had to recast him, but it's really strange to think about any other major role like having to be recast like halfway through.
Yeah. Oh, there's also like an excerpt in there about, is it Richard Harris was the first Dumbledore?
Yes.
Sounds right.
Apparently, like on set, he had a flu, like the flu, and he still came to film, and like Maggie Smith was like wearing masks in between filming and like trying, like, yeah, like there's, and it's all told in like these like, you know, 1 to 2 sentence like this little like blurbs where he just sums up his day.
Wow.
Tell me to it. I feel like I wonder, you are selling this book well. I feel like I want to read it.
Yeah.
I want to read it when it comes out. So yeah, super fun. Well, no, not super fun. Sorry. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right. And then let's finish this up. We have an email from Matt. And he says Shakespeare feedback. Hey, Broads, some quick feedback on the Shakespeare interpretations. To be honest, I didn't quite finish Much Ado About Nothing in time, but I do plan on going back to it because the half I saw was charming fun. Of the 3, it's the most faithful, which makes sense considering Kenneth Branagh has directed a ton of Shakespeare stuff. It's got a great cast who know how to handle the bard's dialogue. I can't give a full opinion on Keanu's performance. Well, not as good as Washington, Branagh, and Thompson. He is trying. That's it. You got it, Matt. You're done.
Yep.
O was the one I liked the least. It was on the other end of the spectrum of fidelity to the source material, which has lent to some great or at least interesting interpretations. So what do we get from filmmaker checks notes Tim Blake Nelson? Record scratch nose. All right, I never would have guessed that. Okay. I felt the film fell a little flat. Wow, that is a sentence that you have to say 3 times fast. I felt the film fell flat with some of his choices. But there were moments like Martin Sheen devouring scenery as the Bobby Knight-esque coach that were campy fun. The premise feels like it could be remade given what's going on today, as not shocking a statement is that Shakespeare stories still have value now. But maybe with some POC writing and directing. Oh, apparently it was written by a man of color. Although that was from Wikipedia, so if I am wrong, I am really sorry. And then there's William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, which is somewhere in between, and they took bath salts.
Man, you could just cut out like most of our conversation. Like that, there it is. That's it. That's the movie.
They took bath salts bathed in glitter.
Hey, at least they weren't sticking their stomachs with steroids.
Yeah,
That's true.
No, there's really no use of needles for all the extra that this movie had. There was really not that many needles.
This is a Shakespeare adaptation that would be on Stefan from SNL's DVD shelf. I like how he said Stefan from SNL. We all know who Stefan is.
Wait, yeah.
You can't help but appreciate Baz Luhrmann's gonzo maximalist vision. It is like a bonkers maximalist vision for sure.
So much.
Everything in this film is cranked to 11, which works with the highly sterilized work. I agree. It's one of the craziest direct adaptations I've seen until I can work myself up to watch Julie Taymor's Titus. So while we didn't see any adaptations where the star is shot at with actual arrows, which is a link to Throne of Blood.
No thanks.
No thanks, I'm good. This was another fun watch. I was able to get a virtual watch party going. Thanks, Shani, for joining. Here's to another group watch for spooky season, Matt. I love that we all have basically the same opinion on Romeo and Juliet, but everybody kind of forgives it at the end. You're like, yeah, all right.
I mean, I would say, like, it's not that I forgive it. It's like, I'm here for it.
I embrace it. This last night was the first time I sat down and embraced it. I was like, okay.
It's like, it's not that I like it in spite of that. I like it because of that.
Yeah. I think this is like a case where we actually are on differing opinions of the movies, but we're like all like cool with each other's opinions. of
Yes.
it. Like we're all sort of like somewhere on the side of like, okay.
Like, Romeo and Juliet has fucking Seth Green being Seth Green, John Leguizamo being fucking ridiculous.
Seth Green isn't in the
Not
movie,
Seth
was he?
Green. What's his face? Jamie Kennedy. Sorry, I think they're. I always think they're the same person.
White dude from the 90s.
Exactly.
He was in a different one of the movies
Yes,
that
but
we
very
watched.
similar-ish.
Not this.
Yes, with pale
Different
white
design.
kid with Irish-looking hair. So you have Jamie Kennedy being ridiculous, John Leguizamo being absolutely over the top, and then you have Harold Perrineau in drag. Like, guys, this is the movie that we are here for with a great soundtrack, and then two people that happen to fall in love immediately and have very good underwater breath control.
I feel like this movie is like, for me anyways, is kind of like the embodiment of like, you know, that famous like Tim Gunn quote where he's like, well, you know, if that's the hat you wanted, then you sure picked a good one. And I'm paraphrasing, but I feel like that's how I look at Romeo and Juliet. Like,
but I truly,
if that's the hat you wanted, then you sure picked a good one.
There you go. I truly,
if it works for you, then like, well, my opinion doesn't matter.
I think the bath salts thing though, very funny.
Yeah, the bath salts thing. That was very funny.
I mean, he does.
Wish I had thought of that. That was like the perfect.
He does drop
perfect.
E. Like he does. It's takes ecstasy, right? But he manages to like recover from sticking his face in water, which 1,000 college kids probably tried that to no success.
Right. That's how acid works, right? I'm Gus Lerman. I don't have time to look it up. It's going to be a cool visual for my movie, so let's go with it.
Do it. Anyway, thank you all for the feedback. The rest of the feedback we will do next week. We will again 10:13 live for the patrons. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. We'll let you know what the plan is for November. Put October 25th on your calendar for our live Zoom costume party. I am so excited. It is my favorite broadcast of the year. My very favorite. So don't let me down, okay? My second favorite is the Christmas movies, but Halloween is my first favorite. Yeah. I will deck this room out. Maybe I'll get spider webs and just super deck this room out, like just for that one thing. Anyway, all right. Thank you guys, though, for listening. Thank you to the patrons, especially the ones that contribute a certain level, and that would be Eckhart Rickner, Tack from Tokyo/France, Maggie the Magnificent, Joanne with a Plan, and Ed the Creepy Poopy Head Mailman. Joanne, welcome back if you're listening. We will read your email next week. We hope that you can join us as well. If anybody has any feedback about anything we talked about tonight or anything else, you can go email us, thebroadcasters3@gmail.com, or give us a call, 331-276-2373. We also post these on Facebook, so if you want to leave us a message there or on Instagram or whatever, hopefully we will get it that way as well. All right. Does anybody else have anything before we move on? Or before we go?
Nope.
No, I do not.
All right. Well, on that note, it was lovely chatting with you again tonight. My name is Colleen.
Mm-hmm. My name is Amanda.
And I'm Shelly.
Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.